Okay, so I'm gonna do. I'll do 2019, the second 2019, number 3 now. This stuff with Sweden and Norway, and I'll work that out for you. I went ahead and did some of it already just to make this go faster. A wants you to draw it just for Sweden. I went ahead and did Norway and Sweden so we can just both see them up here. So essentially, you're making a production possibilities curve where if all of our resources go into food, they can make 50. If all of them go into capital goods, you can make 100. Or this line says if you use all of your resources, then you can, make some combination of them. Okay. If you are being efficient, right, you're on the line somewhere. It can be anywhere on the line. It doesn't have to be right in the middle. It can be anywhere. Inefficient would be somewhere inside the curve, right? Because you're not using all of your resources. So you're not making as much crap as you can. And unattainable would be somewhere outside of the curve. And again, it doesn't matter where inside it is or outside it is or on the curve, so long as it's somewhere either inside on or outside. Okay, so that would be A and B. C, assume that Sweden was producing 20 foods and 60 consumer goods, and they started producing 30 foods and 40 consumer goods. Capital goods. So we reduced our capital goods and increased our food. Okay, so what's going to happen to long run growth or economic growth? As consumer goods goes down, it leads to a reduction in production. That's awesome. A reduction in production because capital goods are used to make other goods. So the more capital goods you make, the easier it is to make other stuff, right? So if we're making less capital good, it's harder to make other stuff. So that would be C. D, do the comparative advantage for it. Okay, so I went ahead and set this up. I did it for you before, but I'm going to go through it again. Right, it's an output question because using the same resources to get this output. So it's going to go this way. So this would be 100 over 50, or 2 capital goods are given up to make a single food, or 120 over 30, which would be 4 capital goods made for every food. If you're Norway, which means we're looking for the lowest opportunity cost, so that would be 2. So Sweden is going to make food. And that obviously means if Sweden's doing food, that means Norway is going to be making capital goods. I'll show it real fast. It'd be 50 over 100, or 0.5 foods per capital good, and then 30 over 120, or 0.25 foods per capital good. So Norway will make capital goods. So anyway, that's A, the B, C, here's D, and for E, what they're asking is what is going to be the terms of trade between the countries. Just look, it's in between these two things, right? So we know that Sweden is going to be giving up 2 capital goods to make a food, and Norway is going to be giving up 4 capital goods to make a food. So essentially, their trade has to be somewhere in here. Okay, so if it's going to be mutually beneficial for both countries, just pick a number in between, and I just picked 3 because 3 is in between 4 and 2. So an example of identify a specific number of capital goods that can be traded for 10 units of food. That could just be 30, right? So 3 times 10 would be 30. It could be 2.5, which is in between this, and that could be 2.5 times 10. That could be 25. It could be 2.1, which would be 21. It could be 3.9, which would be 39. It just has to be in between 2 and 4, and it will be mutually beneficial in that regard. That's all they're asking. We really hadn't done one of those yet. That is something that to be fair, they probably won't ask that. We don't really get into terms of trade until the last unit, which we're not doing, but it's important for you to know this, so that's what it is.